Okay, let's talk about hunger and hormones. So, people like to blame something for why they're hungry or why they're overweight or why there's always a reason for something that people want to say. So, first of all, this is just to educate you on what your body is doing when you are hungry, if you're not hungry, if you are putting on weight, things like that. There are so many factors involved in why people are hungry, why people metabolize things better than others, if your metabolism's working, all of these things. So, not to say that those aren't important, but that's not the focus of what I'm going to talk about. This one's not super long, but I'm going to try and keep it simple instead of digging into all the other factors. But essentially, people typically, when they say that they're not losing weight, the first thing they think is, okay, my thyroid is out of whack. It's just not working for me. When in truth is less than, I believe, 4 or 5% of the American population actually has hypothyroidism. So don't be so quick to blame your thyroid for things that, I shouldn't say for things, for not losing weight. I have read that 85% of people that crash diet and lose weight gain more than the weight that they lost back within 2 to 3 years. So why does that matter? Why is that important? I preach a lot about sustainable lifestyle changes to make sure that weight stays off and that you're living a life that you can enjoy instead of thinking that you're dieting chronically. So dieting chronically and doing it the wrong way with crash diet, starving, binge eating is what it leads to a lot of times. That is when you get the weight coming back. So how does that affect our hormones? Well, it does. The body has over 40, 50, I think, hormones. So you have to look at all of them, right? But the ones that are related to hunger for the purpose of this video, we could talk about cortisol, which is related to stress, which is related to weight gain. You could talk about estrogen and how some people are estrogen dominant. There's all kinds of things, but your hunger hormones are leptin and ghrelin, and they work together to tell your body, hey, we're hungry, hey, we're full. That's essentially what they do. So I took some notes here to make sure I don't miss anything, but now I don't know where I was. So leptin and ghrelin, right? So ghrelin increases your appetite. It prepares your body when it's time to eat, and leptin decreases your appetite and tells your body when it's full. Essentially, that's what they do. So how does that relate to weight gain or weight loss? Well, they work together to create, obviously tell you when it's time to eat, when it's time to stop eating. And if you continue eating when your body says to stop eating, what does that typically lead to? Well, weight gain. So how does this affect? I've talked in a previous blog about why undereating can lead to fat gain. This kind of essentially ties in with that because your leptin levels, they decrease appetite. Typically people that are overweight or obese are going to have higher levels of leptin in the system and can actually have leptin resistance. And that also can affect your hormones and your metabolism. So let's say you sit down for a meal and your ghrelin's like, hey, we're ready to eat. And so you sit down and you eat, and then your leptin says, hey, let's stop. You keep eating anyways. You're going to throw off the hormones in your body that are telling you, trying to trigger you to stop and start eating. Your body tells you when it's done with things, and there's not a person in the whole world that's going to say that they've never eaten past their uncomfortable stage of being full, right? So it happens from time to time. It's when it continually happens that you have this imbalance of hormones in your body, which causes permanent weight gain, as well as an imbalance of not only your hunger hormones, but all those other 48 hormones that we're not really talking about right now. But that affects, reproductive health, your mental health, all of these other things can actually come back to, are you listening to your body cues? So again, it's hard not to touch on the other ones, but it is important to listen to your body when it's telling you something. And that is, again, kind of ties into your metabolism and when I talk about under eating causing fat gain, you've messed up the hunger hormones so that your ghrelin and your leptin aren't working correctly to tell you, hey, we're hungry, hey, we're full. They're kind of all over the place. So that's why if you see someone that's super obese, they're not always just mowing down pizza all the time. They might not eat that much, but they've dug such a deep hole with their metabolism and their hormone levels that that's why they are the way they are. So even when they try to crash diet after that, they're still super off with those hormone levels. So how do you fix that? Well, that's when I come in. You have a structured macro plan to make sure that your body's getting enough food, the right foods, obviously cutting out like diet sodas and sugars and fried foods and all that is obviously going to be good. I think everyone knows that. But it takes time to rebuild that when you've totally destroyed your metabolism and your hormones are super out of whack. So again, there's a lot of other hormones that do play a role in that. But when you are feeling hungry, listen to your body. Don't just say, okay, well, I'm hungry. Either don't just say, one, I'm going to just eat the entire kitchen. That's not going to help. But two, don't be like, oh, I can't eat because I ate yesterday. So you just don't eat because that's under eating. And again, you're going to mess with that hormone. So, and then it's also important for two to make sure after you eat, you stop and say, okay, is my body good? Am I full, right? So leaner people are typically going to be hungrier more often because they have lower levels of leptin, sorry. So, and you'll see them eat more because their metabolisms are working for them as opposed to you working for your metabolism and trying to just destroy it basically. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. That was my shortest vlog ever. So, all right, any questions you can leave them below or message me, but that's everything in a nutshell.